Well, there may be no waiting at Masterwork, but apparently there was somebody waiting for CM Punk when he got finished with his segment on the media scrum.
Well, we're still finding out details on this. We're still trying to figure it out. I could tell you, as reported by the Wrestling News on this morning's edition of the Wrestling Newscast, wherever you find your favorite podcast, that we reported last night, Fightful Select said that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks were extremely upset, with one source claiming they were threatening to walk over the comments to leave AEW. There was some sort of physical confrontation that took place away from the media, obviously, during the press conference. It actually happened during the Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland sit-down portion. You could see there is video of security running out of the room towards what some people are saying may be CM Punk's locker room. We're still trying to get some details, but Brian,
and that poor one guy, he's like, what do they want me to do about this shit?
Brian Alvarez, Wrestling Observer Radio this morning, reported that his sources said the altercation took place between Punk and the Young Bucks. Dave Meltzer called it a melee.
The word melee was used.
Those are all the details we know as of now.
Well, hold on. Let's see now. When we come to find more details, let's see if that's true or not, because we don't know. You know, Uncle Dave, sometimes he mixes his metaphors, so let's just see. Melee, according to the American Heritage Dictionary 3rd edition. Wait a minute, I'm still at mess, which may also be
that's the situation here, yeah.
In this situation. Now I've got to meniscus.
Well, again, Dave's not calling it a melee. He's saying that's what people have referred to it as to him.
Okay, well, let's see what a melee is. Melee, a confused hand-to-hand fighting. A tumultuous mingling. Also, see synonyms at brawl.
It sounds like a description of the Young Bucks wrestling. What was the first one?
The first one, confused hand-to-hand fighting. So it was a melee, because the Bucks were involved. Tumultuous mingling. That's probably how they procreate through. But nevertheless, so apparently the comments weren't received real well, but apparently, even if there was a melee, they didn't get too froggy, because we have not heard of CM Punk being transported to any medical facilities, and the same for them. So apparently they were smart and they were just running their mouths instead of trying to back it up.
Obviously, this has been a very interesting dynamic. As we've said before, a lot of this dynamic has been there since the beginning. It's been there through a lot of the drama with Cody. It's just now it's playing out in public, and part of it's because CM Punk's willing to fight back. And as we said before, these guys in their camp have done everything they can to put down anyone and anything that disagrees with them or doesn't think they're the best thing since sliced bread, to use an old-fashioned expression from the days before sliced bread.
Do you know that's not as long ago as most people think? I was watching the Food That Built America last season, and I think it was only like in the 30s or 40s. So up until then, you didn't have sliced bread.
That's right. I saw something, I think, on CBS Sunday Morning at one point, but before we get to...
Sliced bread's been in the news a lot lately.
That's right. It's one of those finishing maneuvers that makes no sense, I believe. But what happens next? If you're Tony Khan, and you could say, oh, he needs an infrastructure, he needs a booker. He doesn't have that right now. If you're Tony Khan right now, realistically, what do you do about a situation if it is now gone beyond CM Punk expressing things publicly, beyond Adam Page unprofessionally trying to sabotage his opponent in what would be the first $1 million gate of the pay-per-view? It's beyond that now. If it really did have some kind of physical altercation in the back, what do you do?
Well, you gotta... I don't know whether Tony's got it in him, but if the executive vice presidents have been given that position, then they have got to be held to a little bit of a higher standard in terms of how they react to things. And since the executive vice presidents, wait, is Page an EVP, or is he just friends with EVPs? We know of the Hardleys and Twinkle Toes are EVPs. Is Page one as well, or is he just in the protected circle of trust of the friends?
He's not an EVP, although he likes to take as much credit as building the revolution or whatever the hell they try to say about what their version of events is.
Okay, well, when Page did that thing that he did, if Tony had been proactive, he would have gone to his EVPs that are good friends of Page's and said, hey, tell the fucking phony cowboy that he's jacking around on live TV with my biggest fucking star before our biggest fucking pay-per-view. And if he does it one more time, he's going to be an unemployed cowboy. Tell him that for me, please. Or if you'd like, I'll tell him myself. But since you guys are friends, you might be able to deliver the message in a little more palatable fashion. But Tony doesn't have it in him to do that because everybody's his friend. So as far as what you do now, depending on how much insufferable douchebaggery has gone on between which of the EVPs and Punk, I would think, you have them sit them down in a room and say, well, here's the thing. I'm the boss, and you guys got to work together, and the first one that I find running their fucking particular mouth about the other one is going to be done. Because I think that Punk, now that he's probably said what he has to say, if he doesn't get any more bullshit like this, either from the Hardley boys trying to do their whisper campaign or Page trying to and failing miserably make a profound statement on live TV that nobody's ready for. If that doesn't happen, I assume that he can go right along and do what he's going to be doing. I assume there's going to be no more Punk versus Page matches. And I don't think that Punk was ever going to cross paths inside the ring with the Hardleys to begin with. That wouldn't have made any sense on a variety of levels. So,
and Punk's someone who could do something and choose who he wants to work with.
Well, yeah,
there are other guys who can't.
There was no reason for him to be in the ring with them to begin with. It's a style clash. It's a fucking genre clash. It's a clash of everything.
Well, what I was going to say is I've heard from other people who don't want to do business with Adam Page now because they don't trust him. But they may not be in a position where they could put their foot down about it. Not that they're necessarily getting booked with him right now, but, once you break that trust, what happens if you're a wrestler and you get known for, Buddy Rogers got known for injuring guys in the ring, whether he really did or didn't. He became known for that. And guys didn't trust him. What happens if you're a wrestler and people don't trust you?
Well, then your opponents are limited and then your scope is limited as far as what you can do. And it even if guys don't have the pull to not work with you at all, if they don't trust you, they're not going to go the extra mile. They're not going to, oh gosh, I really can't take that tonight. I got this back or whatever the case. It's not going to be an optimum situation to have a great match. So, Brian.
Yeah.
Have we got more scrum? There was something scrumming with Jericho.
Well, there was lots of other things, not just Jericho. It was a scrummy kind of night. But Jim, before we get going, let me just give you a quick update on something we spoke about a little bit earlier. A couple reports coming out now. On Twitter, Stephen Muehlhausen, who it says here...
Wait, what? Muehlhausen?
Stephen Muehlhausen.
Is he friends with Danhausen?
I don't know, and now you make me question if this is indeed his real name. But he's the boxing, MMA, and pro wrestling writer for DAZN. And he tweets, sources, there was an altercation between CM Punk and the Young Bucks early Monday. The Bucks confronted Punk about his comments at the scrum. It did get physical, with Punk throwing punches at least one member of the Bucks. A number intervened to separate everyone. More to come. And there's also a separate report that I'm seeing here being reported by Sean Ross Sapp that the altercation involved Punk, Ace Steel, and the Elite, but he has not confirmed that yet. So a little bit more getting out about whatever it is that happened. The whole story will get out sooner or later, but whatever it is that happened backstage.
Well, this sounds like it's interesting, and I know Punk's straight edge, but I'm pretty sure he's taken pills bigger than Nick Jackson. And I don't think that Matt Jackson could whip CM Punk, or even half of Punk, if the other half was helping him. So maybe Ace Steel was there just to make sure that Twinkle Toes didn't skip in from the back and pull his hair or something.
Yeah, you think Brandon Cutler was there filming it?
hopefully he got the filming for being the. They're going to change the name of the show from Being the Elite to Beating the Elite.
Biting the Elite, and Larry gets involved.
Beat your meat. Oh my God! If Punk had fucking sicked Larry, well, no, but Punk's an animal lover. He wouldn't want Larry biting any of those suet-filled, tough, chewy, gristle-filled elite members. I'm sure he feeds Larry a proper diet of healthy food that a growing canine deserves instead of just junk meat from the butcher shop left
Gristle.
over.
You said gristle.
Gristle.
All right, Grizzly. Well, let's move on here.
You're to just call him Grizzly Smith.
Well, going back to, let's not call him that. Let's not call him that, ladies and gentlemen. That was a bad joke, but speaking of bad jokes, let's talk a little bit more about this media scrum.